Yeah.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Did you guys know
Me to
that?
start?
Yeah, this is a good
Yeah,
start.
yeah, yeah. I'm ready.
All right.
All right. The reason why I say I have that little bit of sympathy for him, OG, and when I say sympathy, I'm speaking on the corrupt African leaders back home. If you guys remember, a couple years ago, the Haitian president was murdered in his own home, and his
Yes.
wife was shot at gunpoint with AK-47.
Yeah.
He got shot because he tried to stand up for his people.
Right.
And they marched into his house, past his own security guards.
No, they said he was. They said he was a coup.
No,
They said
it wasn't.
They said he was a transplant for the U.S.
No, he wasn't.
And that's what people. That's where I'm the street.
Yeah, they spread misinformation after
That's
you're
what I
dead
heard
on
some
top of
Haitians
that.
been saying on YouTube.
And they murdered him in cold blood at his house.
Right.
He
And-
stood up to the powers that be in France and Canada and said, no, you can't take this portion of my island.
He was a hero. He wasn't a coward. So you support corrupt leaders in Africa who are cowards.
No, what I said is I have empathy for them because I understand the delicate situation that they're in. Every day that you wake, you have a gun pointed at your head, and this gun is bigger than any gun that you can own. Your own people will watch you get murdered as you sleep, and then act as if nothing happened.
Okay, but
guess
this
what?
is what I'm saying.
They don't have your best interests at heart either. So these people are handcuffed.
When you decide, listen,
they have golden
when
handcuffs
you decide to become a leader of a country, it is a possibility that you could be assassinated.
All right, give me the possibility.
It's a possibility.
Give me the possibility of Joe Biden getting assassinated versus the possibility of the Niger president getting assassinated.
Right.
What are the
Those
odds?
are different stakes.
This is like this. It's not even close.
John F. Kennedy got killed.
Yeah, because he did some shit that. Guess what? Who he pissed off? The Fed.
Okay,
so
but he got killed. He was the president of the United States.
But look at the odds.
And his brother
bro.
was
like these things are not apples to
president.
apples.
He
This
didn't
is
get
not the
killed.
same
He got
thing.
killed.
This is not the same thing,
What are you
OG.
talking about? What is the difference? If you take on a role of leadership, there's a possibility, whether you're in America or in Africa, there's a possibility that you could get killed because if you stand up against the powers that be for the people, it's a chance that you're going to be. So
ideally,
then that means
ideally, that would be the case.
Become a leader.
But guess how futile
Why
that
should you
has
be
been?
a leader if you know you got a principle that you're going to stand for the people? All right.
It's a futile argument.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that this man was murdered in cold blood, and then you had him spread some false conspiracy theory because they're going to do that. They're going to clean
say
up
conspiracy. That's the word on the street.
They're going to clean
That's
up
what
their
they've been
actions by blaming you for standing up for your own
Nation's
people.
been talking about it too.
There is no more
I ain't
martyrs.
gonna put that out there.
Martin Luther King was murdered in cold blood, and then they spread the lie that he was sleeping with a whole bunch of women. They killed
Stop that
people.
lie now.
That's
Stop
what
that
I just
lie.
called it,
You
was a
bring
lie.
information on that.
What I just called it was a lie, so he's not listening to anything that I just said right now.
Sleep with all these women.
Ain't nothing wrong with
You're
it.
not listening to what I just said.
Ain't nothing wrong if he did though.
So, listen, you're not listening to what I just told you. What I just told you verbatim. I have the microphone on my shirt. This microphone is to hear my voice.
Go ahead.
What I said verbatim was,
got the microphone
after
too.
they kill you, they're gonna lie on you after they kill you. Just like Blackshire brought false information to the table, saying that he was a false plant president.
I ain't gonna say it's false. That's what I heard on.
That's what you're gonna
That's
hear.
what the
because
Haitians been talking about.
They have billions of dollars to fund any lie that they want. Just like you could be a woman and then tomorrow you could be a man. They can make you believe anything because they have so much money. They control the story of any and everything.
So you're saying to me,
you can be a day. Next day you can be a day.
Does anybody in Haiti benefit? Does anyone in Haiti have a benefit to show of this man getting murdered in his house and his wife being shot with an AK-47? Like, yes, he did the noble thing and he stood up for his people. But guess what? He's not here now. And guess what? And guess what happened to his country?
Do you know the history?
The money is still being extracted from his country, whether he's alive or dead. It doesn't matter.
Do you know the history of
So
Haiti?
that's where my empathy comes from for these leaders.
Do you know about the history of Haiti? Haiti was the only.
It doesn't matter about the history. Tell me about the president that's murdered.
That stood up against the United
It doesn't
States
matter.
And France.
It doesn't matter.
Okay?
Tell me about
And
what
they
happened
never
to their
forgot that.
president.
They never forgot that.
Tell me about their president that's dead.
So now you're telling me. This is why maybe help me clear my mind up. You're telling me that it's okay for you sympathize with corrupt leaders in Africa because they've been brought and sold by whatever government, United States or whoever government they get their money from, and that's justifiable for them to.
I got a perfect example of this.
Let me answer.
To take from your people, not give to the people, and not do what's right by the people because of individual gain. Is that what you're telling me?
I said I have empathy for the situation that they find themselves in. Because I know if I woke up in that situation tomorrow, I wouldn't walk out of my presidential office and say, yeah, fuck that shit. Let's do the blackity black shit.
Let's be real.
Because I'm going to die by the end of the week. And guess what? All my people that
Stop
would
being
love
fearful,
me.
brother.
Listen.
Die.
Can I talk? Or are you just going to do your thing? What I said is, they don't have, my people that I'm leaning on and trying to lead, they don't have the power to help me. They're going to watch me die, just like Haiti watched their president die. And ever since Haiti's president was assassinated, has anybody rose up and become a new leader with good and cause for his people? His people are suffering even worse than before. So sacrifices have to be made, but there has to be a calculated sacrifice. You cannot just sacrifice the sacrifice. You're not a leader if you just sacrificing the sacrifice. Where the hell are we going as a people?
Talk about what they did to Haiti real quick. Hear him do.
Y'all are jumping all over the place, so we're not going to have a congruent thought process, and therefore we won't get anywhere as black people.
On, man.
So
Haiti has always been a victim.
This is the issue
the time
that we're up against
of the revolution in 1802. So they've always been a victim. Unfortunately,
I would say
it's
this.
sad because they're the only black
right?
people that really stood up.
We can't neglect the fact that at the end of the day, black people, especially these African countries, the leaders have their hands tied behind their backs. So corruption is what's comfortable for them. And when you go over there with this radical rhetoric, you're basically suicidal.
Yep.
You're suicidal.
Every time.
So Jewish dilemma is very radical.
What?
In South Africa, he ain't dead. He speaks out against the government all the time.
He's not even a president. He's just a dude.
He's not a president. But he's a leader. He's a leader with a voice, and he speaks about. He could be.
They're not talking. You guys are so idealistic.
He's part of the EEO. He's a part of the EEA.
Once you get into a seat of power, things change.
He has power. What are you talking about?
He got power.
He's a voice.
He's a voice. He is not a president.
He's a voice.
That's different though. He has influence, but he does not have power. Those are two different things.
Not the same at all.
He can use that influence for power, but that's when things start getting dangerous for him, and he probably knows that.
Then let's not have no African leaders. Just let whoever wanna. Let's
just do apartheid. Let's just do apartheid in every country.
Right. Let's just do apartheid. And have white folk
They're
control
pimping
it.
us out. They got to dress it up to make it real for us. That's basically what's going on anyway.
In Africa. Come on, man.
They just dressing it up for us. That's what's going down anyway. They pimping us out.
So you might as well get white leaders in Africa.
That's
Every country in Africa, you need to let the Scottish, the Irish people take over all your countries, do apartheid, and let them run over like before Nelson Mandela. That's what it sounds like.
Because when things go left in an African country, who do they run to for money?
I don't know, United States or
Europe,
white governmental organizations that run majority
of
white people,
or the colonizer,
or China.
Exactly.
Who's
they run to the colonizer with their hand out. They run to the colonizer with their hand out.
They should have to do that. They should be able to run to the. There's 52 countries in the continent of Africa. You're telling me out of the 52 countries that they can't run to some of their own people.
There are two things
and
here.
Get help.
There are two things here that are the problem.
I know why.
There's sabotage from the white supremacy, and there's many years of corruption that has been embedded into the system.
So it all leads back to white supremacy,
right.
Like I said.
Of course.
But see,
we all know this. But we need to strategize to break away from that.
When black people start saying about white supremacy, I have some of my African brothers. There's no such thing as white supremacy. What do you talk about?
I don't know who's saying.
We don't know those people.
I've seen a lot. I talk with a lot of African brothers.
Are not relevant to any productive conversation.
And they believe that because you know why? A lot of them, they stay in their little area.
They're not productive.
That's
not a
they
mindset
don't,
of
They don't
productivity.
really go
That's a
out
mindset of
into the
regression.
world and
Let's
really
talk about the
experience
ideas that are presented here today. Let's not talk about
Okay.
anybody that's
Yeah,
not
because
here.
this is the thing, right? Once we establish that white supremacy,
You always
is a
saying
thing,
about FBA, so listen, well, we can't.
once we establish,
I ain't being tribal.
Once we establish that white supremacy is a thing, now we got to strategize a way to get out of white supremacy.
Well, okay.
How do we do that?
We talked about the African
It's never
leaders.
gonna happen.
They ain't no
It's
white,
hard.
ain't
It's
no
hard.
black
Yeah.
people.
We
Ain't
can't
So
no
you
black
give up?
people.
You
It's
give up,
hard.
Ain't no
Bryce?
black
Huh?
people
It
going.
You
ain't
give up?
giving up. It's
Ain't
just
no
being
black people
realistic.
going to them,
We're never getting
Africans
reparations.
and giving them
Ain't
money.
never not gonna
Who
be.
you think giving them that money?
White supremacy.
white
It's white folk.
There you go.
So you give up on
now.
So we
reparations.
don't have a strong.
It's not about giving up. It's about being honest.
So you know that you'll never get
Let's give it-
reparations.
It's not about knowing. It's just honest.
We can
So-
make-
Well, who's giving us reparation? California, with Gavin Newsom, literally said he was going to have a hearing for reparations.
He did.
And Tariq Nasheed went over there, and they had some operatives bash Tariq Nasheed,
Yes, they
and
did.
then Gavin Newsom said, "Yeah, it's not on the bill. It's not going to happen." They got one little small ass town called Evanston, Illinois, that's doing reparations for
wait, can you guys-
about 400 people or something small, giving like fucking $1,000 checks. Everybody,
When you guys-
$1,000. We supposed to get 40 acres of mule. We supposed to
you
get
guys say
half a
reparations-
milli.
When you guys say reparations, can you like provide like context?
Reparation is for the descendants of slaves who are
FBAs.
who had FBAs, Foundational Black Americans,
Who built this country.
Who built this country?
Yeah.
The inventions you have, the technology and things you have was invented by black
Think
people.
about it like this.
Can you give maybe some popular thoughts or ideologies of what people think will be done with reparations that could improve?
Reparation is to bridge the wealth gap in America.
Think about it. We supposed to get
which has been caused by white supremacy because black people owned land and money and businesses, and white people have just taken out
Because they know we
land.
gonna take over soon to give us these reparations.
Right, because they understand once we get cash reparations, we're not talking about no.
We gonna run the banks.
student loans. We ain't talking about no education and all that. Because if I get money answers all things.
Yeah.
So if I get money, I can get my own education.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you guys say to the people that say that okay, once you get the reparations, you're just gonna put it right back into the white economy?
Well, it would help.
We're gonna build our own banks.
So there'll be some that's going to do that.
Like the
There's
Black
going
Wall
to be some that's going to blow it up.
What about the overarching
But they're going to
problem of
be.
white supremacy
But it
that's
doesn't
still
matter.
going
Let me
on?
tell you something. If I give you $1 million,
Right.
I'm not going to question you how you spend it. You can spend it any way you want. So if I get reparations, who is somebody to tell me how I'm going to spend my money?
If they give reparations to Larry Elder, he gives $1 million to the Republican Party. They give $1 million. And they give $1 million to Cory Booker, he gives it to the Democrat Party.
what I'm
If they give it to Gucci Mane, and he does it to sign 5 artists from Mississippi and Memphis and Alabama, that's his prerogative. But it's
Right.
going to be some real
But the-
steppers,
but
some
this-
Tariq Nasheed steppers,
but
some
this-
Black
but-
Nation of Islam steppers who going to build this country up from the ground up, and we're going to have our black banks. We're going to have our own black cities. We're going to take away we're going to take away
You know what?
we're going to take away gentrification
Right.
with these
You know why-
reparations.
You know why people question why black people should get money? You
unified.
know why? You know why they
not
say?
gonna work.
You know why they
It's not
think
gonna work,
we
though.
shouldn't?
We are unified.
We are
Opposition
you.
You didn't
to
see that? You didn't see Alabama?
First of all,
That's
all,
a good example.
the reason
where we're getting in the right direction, but
Yeah,
are
the
we there yet
reason
where we're
the
at?
reason
We're
why
building.
one reason why they want to get
Cooking.
reparations because that represents economical power. They do not, the powers that be do not want us to have economic power. And another thing, they know that they owe us the money. This is a debt that is owed to my ancestors who died
But are we
in this
proper-
country. And
are we
me being a descendant, I'm entitled to reparations.
Are we? Well,
of cash.
no, well, that's a good point. That's a good point. I think the thought of whether we're going to use reparations effectively is a different conversation.
Right.
Because for fairness, we're owed that, is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
FBAs are owed
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right.
So
right.
it's like the thought of, okay, are we going to use it effectively? And the thought of, do we get it?
Well, we were supposed to get it 150 years
It doesn't matter
ago.
how if you FBA and
Everybody cares.
you choose to take your reparations
You're not a FBA.
and blow it up on strippers or whatever
Yeah,
you
it doesn't
want
matter.
to do,
That's
that's
like-
your business.
Yeah.
But if I take my money
it's our money.
and I go to build
Right.
economical power, that's my business.
Here's the
See,
thing.
problem-
Here's the thing. All the money we spent in Afghanistan for a war we lost. We lost Iraq too. We lose all these wars. We lost Vietnam, yo. We spend like what? How much do you think we spend in Vietnam? Trillions of dollars. How much we spend in Afghanistan? America usually loses wars. We lose wars because we go there, try to be the police, and they will be more about than us. Then we end up losing.
Right.
Ukraine, they're gonna lose that war too.
And
we're spending billions of dollars.
Into that.
That's reparations money.
So this is the funny thing to me. You putting all this money in all these other places, but when black people the descendants of slaves start talking about we want reparations of cash, then we don't have money for that.
Yeah, because
but you have money. You have money for everything.
Well, war y'all gonna lose.
You don't have you have money for Ukraine, who are not United States citizens. You have money from Afghanistan.
Which is
you have money for all the other.
But when
because you know why? America knows they have a debt to pay, and until they make, and I'm going to tell you this, until they make it right with black people, America is not going to prosper the way that it should.
Here's the thing,
because they haven't done right by the descendants.
And we gotta be some big steppers when it comes to reparations. When Larry Elder was on a Breakfast Club, he was saying people call me a coon because I don't support reparations. But when Obama doesn't support reparations, you don't say anything about him. Right. But when you hear a black dude that's conservative say reparations,
and Obama, he openly said,
he's not FBA for any.
Right, he's not FBA. Okay.
He grew up in Hawaii.
Huh? He's not FBA. His father was from Africa. His mother was white. Okay, he's not no full FBA. He's not even.
You got anything to say about that dumbass nigga?
Hawaii is America. Thank you very much.
It is part of America. It's one of the.
His dad.
First
Where you talking? His mom was white. His mom's white. His dad's African.
What country in Africa? Because I think the country in Africa.
Kenya. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The coolest country in Africa, Kenya.
But I don't know for sure. I don't have no.
He's not FBA, yo. He's not a foundation of Black America.
I heard an African brother say.
He grew up with Indonesian.
He said, you know something? He said he kind of came on the African people. He said, y'all Africans should not have nothing to say about what black people have to deal with reparations because that's our battle.
Yeah, I think the reparations is like
that's our battle.
Yeah,
that has nothing to do.
It's not a tribe. This is our country.
No, that has nothing to do.
Don't thread on me.
Because no
thread on me.
No other people have suffered challenge slavery, have suffered mass incarceration, have suffered redlining. We have always
incest.
Right. I could trace my roots back to the 1600s, to my great-great-grandparents. My grandparents were sharecroppers in South Carolina. Yeah. All right? But my family itself, I have professional people, teachers, doctors, lawyers, and this and that in my family. But their roots came from the field.
I don't like when Africans be coming here saying they don't support reparations. Right, bro? This is our country. Y'all came here trying to talk. Y'all came here trying to talk about FBA business in the FBA country.
Right. But my thing is this: everybody else, to me, if you came to America, if you came to America and you
support reparations,
a better life.
I support reparations.
If you made a better life for your family, then you got your reparations.
Right.
What our battle is, the white man, he know what he owes us. Trust me. And because of his guilty conscience and this and that, and his evilness, being a devil that he is, he don't want to give us what's right. Because he knows that's owed to us.
But my question,
Africans as a whole, we just don't care about like pie in the sky stuff. For the most part, because back home in Africa, a lot of people have given us false promises.
What the hell are you talking about?
Year after year after year.
Is reparations pie in the sky? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
You gonna let me go?
Is it pie in the sky?
Do I got it?
Is it pie in the sky? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Let me speak on the behalf.
Yes or no?
Let me speak
yes
on.
Yes or no?
Can I?
Yeah, if you put it together.
Yeah, don't do that, Black. Stop doing that.
Okay, go ahead.
If I'm speaking for the mentality of African immigrants back home have seen a lot of NGOs and nonprofits come. They seen them come, start something up, then it fizzles out because the money dries up.
Right.
So they've been given false promises their entire life. Okay. The fact that they're on American soil is the biggest dream that most of them could have ever imagined.
Okay.
So when you try to take somebody's mindset who's used to so little and so many lies and then tell them about reparations,
like I said, that ain't none of they fight.
You're all right, but let me just finish what I gotta say.
You in America, if you're successful, you got a house, a business, or whatever country you come from, rather than Caribbean or wherever you go, that reparation story ain't on you.
Right.
This is
right.
about us. Now, honestly,
too.
if you want to be technical, once Americans get their reparation, it's going to open the door for the Caribbean nations and even for Africa, because y'all was a victim of colonialism and racism also, and y'all are really entitled to that, if you look at it technically. But right now, as it stands for us being Black Americans, this is our battle. This is not nobody else's battle, and they should. Everyone who has something to say about it need to shut their mouth, because
I'm trying to give you context on the mindset.
The concept is this: I am a descendant of slaves. My grandparents were sharecroppers. My lineage goes back to South Carolina. Okay, it didn't come from Africa, because only 3 to 6% of Black people came from Africa. Black people already been indigenous to this country. Okay, so my roots are not in Africa. My roots is in this country. So
Wait, when you say that, you mean like Native Americans and
Native Americans, and then in 1500s, there were when the Portuguese came over to America, they had enslaved the Moors, which were Africans. But then they came together. They enslaved the natives of this country. So they enslaved Black people who were already here too. Because you gotta understand, Black people were coming to this country before Christopher Columbus, from Africa and all over the world. All right, historically. So my family is native to this country. So my grandparents were put in chattel slavery, sharecropping, whatever, that Jim Crow, from 1886 to 1964. Yeah, up to that time.
I'm not sure.
Right. Well, that's through the history. And see, this is what another thing too I have a problem with.
Can I continue real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say this.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
I'm trying to give context because there's no native African immigrant in the room. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying what I'm saying by these people have been lied to their entire life.
Right.
Every day. There's people in Africa right now who work 40-hour weeks, and then at the end of the month, they don't get paid.
Right.
That's
wrong.
This happens to them, and it's normal. No, it's not a shock. No one even protests. It's just normal. Wow. So for you as an American who has a totally different history to tell this person, oh yeah, one day they're going to give us millions of dollars. They have a hard problem getting their own checks. So they're never going to understand what you're talking about. Maybe that's where comes the ignorance of them saying, oh yeah, no, whatever. Like you said, I agree. It's not their business. They shouldn't be butting in anyway. It has nothing to do with them.
Especially if you're not saying nothing
But I am also giving you context on what these people's lives are like.
I understand.
That's why their faith is at a minimum.
And I'm giving you the context.
They don't. If you tell them today, hey, if you work the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna pay you a check at the end of that 2 weeks, they're not gonna believe you.
Okay.
They have faith in nothing. The only thing an African in the continent of Africa believes in is the tangibles that are right in front of their face.
I understand, and that's rightfully so.
Because of tribalism, because of corruption. Americans get mad when their presidents do corrupt stuff. Africans, they're like, oh yeah,
this
is Africa.
Normal behavior.
This is Africa.
That's not true.
They have no faith in anything.
They only care when it's their party, the opposite party, doing something corrupt. That's the only time Americans care.
Yeah, that's true.
When white people didn't say shit that Obama was doing corrupt. Kill a U.S. citizen in another country, oh, that's all good.
I'm just trying to get you context.
All that good.
Did you get context from that though, Black?
I had context. I added more context.
Okay, but I'm just saying,
Man,
like,
peanut
you guys feel like y'all have rights. Africans feel like they're just lucky to be alive. So
yeah, I don't think
I'm lucky to be alive.
Don't believe, or I'm gonna agree with you on that. I don't think Africans need to be weighing in on any type of issues that don't have anything to do with them before they
right. I mean,
at all. Period.
To me, you know what I believe. I believe like this.
Problem.
You're my cousin. Just support me.
Right. That's it.
Just say, hey, listen. I'm here. I know the struggle Black Americans did, because before the 1965 Immigration Act, white people didn't want nobody over here.
Right.
All right. So black people fought and was able to get that passed so other people could come to this country.
Yeah.
So let's not, just because you get here and you start doing good, don't be practicing no anti-racism against us.
Whatever. Because
I don't care where you're from. Where you from? China, Africa, Egypt, wherever you're from.
Right.
Don't be practicing that against us. And then when we call you out on it, then you're like, oh, well, because my thing is this. If, like I said, if you walk with the devil, he gonna walk with you, and he gonna throw you off the cliff when he's done with you. And a lot of people have sided with the white supremacists against black people.
Of course.
You know,
and some of these Africans,
and in the end, you know, really honestly, if you ain't white like them, Anglo-Saxon white, they don't care nothing about. As long as they see you as black.
Right.
That's why if you get stopped by the cops or you get in a situation, you're a nigga. Excuse that word. I don't like to use that word, but
nigga, wake up.
That's what you are. They're not gonna ask you, oh, you from Liberia?
And some of these,
you from this and that, and they'll tell you and have lied to brothers and sisters from different countries. Oh, you're better than them Americans. You know why they tell you that? Because they want you to believe that, oh, black Americans lazy, blah, 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 this and that. How in the world could we be lazy?
We come from the same cloth. Yeah, we're cut from the same cloth.
But some of these Africans,
and that's part of conquer and divide.
But some of these Africans be coming to America, they be wanting to bash our culture. Right. They be wanting to call all, you got first-hand experience of this, they be wanting to come here, don't even know who Martin Luther King is. They come off the boat not knowing who Martin Luther King or Malcolm X is. Want to call all black people Martin Luther King and call all black people here ignorant and stupid. Right. Then they be voting. Then they be voting Democrat. Some of these all these people I know, my friends who are African, their dads be voting Democrat. Be watching MSNBC. Be watching Rachel Maddow. I had an issue with a lady at a store a few days ago. She's from Nigerian, and she randomly told me about how is Trump gonna get arrested? And I said, I hope he doesn't actually go to jail or get arrested. I'm conservative. I don't support that whatsoever. She was so shocked. She got all beady-eyed. Like, oh, how does a black American going to say he conservative? I'm like, do you support an 8-year-old to be a transgender kid? Do you support them to put pride flags in elementary schools? Right. Do you support late-term abortions? And she said, yes, I agree with all that. Because when I come to America, we assimilate to American culture. And why do you assume that's assimilating to American culture?
And you got Americans don't believe in that now.
And you only been in America for 8 years. Don't be talking about our presidents going to jail. You only been in America for 8 years, yo. Don't be talking about presidents going to jail.
Right now in America, and a lot of ideologies that have nothing to do with black people. We need to focus on the black problem first.
Thank you.
Because we're over here getting all this perspective and having all these opinions on problems that have nothing to do with the original cause. Because it's
you said it right, bro.
The main reason is why we came here, right? The purpose of the fucking podcast.
Right.
Excuse my language.
Go ahead.
Bridging the gap.
You can cuss a little bit, man.
Bridging the gap.
Rob do
At
it
the
all
end of
the
the day, FBAs, we need to come in here and see their perspective. They've been fighting a long fight for a while. We've been fighting our fight in Africa. Right. So we need to bridge that gap. That's it. Thank
you. And that's what we're trying to do. And let me tell you something. Listen, I love black people. If you black, I love you. Where you from? Diaspora, Africa, wherever.
Kentucky.
I love my brothers. But I think sometimes we that's why we have to bridge the gap, because there's things that we don't understand about each other.
Right.
And just like when Rollo had when he was schooling me on, you know, how that immigration thing and how you have brothers that come from Africa who are doctors and lawyers, and they got to come over here. Their degree is not recognized in America.
Right. And
they have to take a job less than what they did in their country.
That happens all the time.
Yeah, and I'm like, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, she a doctor. Usually, that's always the case.
So I understand coming from a place where you had a profession and you was like well known, and coming to a place where you have to maybe get a job less than what you what you qualify.
But don't come here and start bashing the FBAs though.
Right.
That's the only shit. Don't be coming here saying all these FBAs are so lazy, they're so ignorant. Don't be coming here and doing all that. You don't know what Martin Luther King is.
I've been hearing this since the '80s, and a lot of black people just FBA's live, but we just put it on there. But now as we're talking about reparations and we're talking about what's going on, and we're calling people out. And sometimes they call us divisive. Oh, you're being divisive. We're not being divisive. We are just taking pride in who we are, in our culture, in our history. And everybody else have followed our culture. All the people that come from different places, they want to be like black foundationals, wearing the same clothes and everything like that, doing certain things. So all we saying is this: give us respect. How if I go to Africa, I'm not going to disrespect Africa. Mm-hmm. I'm going to show the utmost respect because it's the motherland, and y'all are my cousins, and I'm going to try to learn. I'm going to try to, absorb myself into what the culture is about and everything like that. But
to do the same here,
right? Yeah. That's all we're saying.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of time when people are coming over the country, they don't take the time because the white man gonna teach you about Malcolm X and certain black history in this country. Because they want to keep you blind and deaf and dumb.
The lady I was talking to,
they want to, but they'll teach you this about, don't associate with them black Americans over there. You're better than them and all that foolishness.
the Nigerian lady I was talking to didn't even know about the Civil Rights Act or the Voting Rights Act, or she didn't even know Lyndon Johnson was, and she wanted to have an argument, discussion with me.
This is American history. Black history is American history. This is what that's why you have Ron DeSantis sitting down there trying to destroy the history, because he knows this is people don't have no history. When you look into European history, and in this country, it's been rape, robbing, and killing. They ain't got nothing to be proud of in their history. They weren't creating things and doing things positive. They were killing and destroying. And if you go back, let's go back to when they first came into America. They couldn't even last in America over winter. They were practicing cannibalism, eating each other. So, come on. But when we were in Timbuktu, developing civilizations, learning mathematics, science, and all languages, and teaching that around the world, we the ones who taught Romans about math and science and all these other
Timbuktu's, everybody on the
and all
books.
that. Yeah. It was us. But people don't know, when you don't know the history, and then when you come over and you just base it on something that you just see.
Right.
Because let me tell you something. We were not always in this system like this in certain things with black people. We wasn't always like this. This was a process that happened, and we've been sabotaged from 1960 when we got the Voter Act and all that. From that time on, white people have strategized how to take things from us and to put us in the system the way they want to. I'm not blaming all white people. I'm not using this as an excuse that black people should not achieve. No.
Yeah.
We should achieve because my ancestors did. I got aunts and stuff come from sharecropping. That's a college professor. Matter of fact, I was at my family reunion just past last week, and I was sitting down with my aunts and kids, daughters. They're professional teachers, been teaching for years. I have a lot of teachers and different professional people in my family. And they came, and you know what I said? I said, I'm so proud of my family because we came from the mud. My grandfather couldn't read, but owned a business, owned his own barbershop. My other grandfather couldn't read. My grandmother had a third grade education. She taught him how to read. But they built a life. They made sure their children went to school and they excelled. Yeah. On both sides, on my father's side and my mother's side.
Right.
So I know my history, and I know where my people come from. Yeah, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the FBA.
I think if anything, once we understand that there are just like clear sides to both stories, the African side and the FBA side, we don't know everything on either side, right?
Right.
But then we need to come together and come up with a plan that benefits both of us, because blacks are a minority here in America. So no matter what, you're always going to have to be assigned to some majority opinion.
Right.
If you want power or whatever the case. So there needs to be a presence in Africa that allows us to connect with each other. Right. Because in Africa, we're majority.
Thank you. Right.
You know, and we
have
power here.
Yeah, super majority.
You know something? I'm waiting to get to Africa where I can see my people Just
Right.
see,
Majority.
wherever I go, restaurant, wherever, to see black people.
Yo.
I ain't got to see white
Yo,
people.
shout out.
But then it's not so easy as that simply because of the fact there's a lot of tribalism in Africa, a lot of corruption, a lot of white interference. No, let's not even say white, just period. There's a lot of interference that is not in favor of the black people that are living there.
But also shout out. You go real quick.
Well, the only thing I'm saying is the problem in Africa is not a 1, 2, 3 step problem.
Yeah, of course not.
There's so many twists and turns in Africa that have to be kind of
I understand
with,
that.
So that problem is going to take a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to take time.
Shout out to what's his name in South Africa, calls the white people the Boers.
Dilemma.
Yeah. Shout out to him, bro.
Yeah.
When he take the power back in South Africa too. I'm tired.
Well, they've had some rhetoric like that for some time.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't have enough context to really speak on some of their.
I just know he pissed Elon Musk off, and I like it. Yeah. He has done shit. He built a coalition.
You know what happened? I'm gonna tell you what happened. They had some kind of celebration, and there's a South African song that says "Kill the Borg."
Yeah.
And the Borgs got mad and tried to.
Borgs are white people.
Yeah, Borgs are the white people. Yeah. The ones that come from Iceland and Scotland and the Dutch people. They don't even want them people there themselves. You know, they that's why they fight so hard to stay in South Africa because their own country don't even want them.
They need to have a Marcus Garvey situation. All the whites, all the Dutch, and go back to the Dutch one. That's what you gotta do. We tired of South Africa having a 50-50 stake with white people having all the nice suburb houses.
Right.
And putting their European agenda into South Africa, brainwashing the South Africans. We tired of it.
Right. So
I think what the best way for us to solve black issues that I've noticed is to realize that other races are in it for themselves. Right. So regardless, you're always gonna have problems with other races.
Yes.
That's a human nature.
And that's a big you know what I mean? And that is a big problem. See, don't get me wrong. I have no problem with people coming to America to land of opportunity. If you can make it and you get your money and so forth like that, I got no problem with that. Right. The problem I have when you practicing anti-racism, and some of these countries, they come into this country with anti-racism. Like if you speak about people that comes from Central America, they come with this anti-racism because they do the African Latinos bad over there. So they come in with this ideology, this mindset of that, I'm superior, I can, just treat black people a certain way.
Yeah, I think it's good to not focus on the problem of racism because, like I said, it's going to be there whether you like it or not. But it's more of, if there's a hyper focus on the issues that are within our respective communities.
Right. Okay, I agree with you on
FBA communities, African communities, you guys have context, we have context on more of the African, so if we can hyper focus on those first, because there are wars happening right now or about to happen with white people, Asian people, other races, even India is weighing in on some situations. Right. As you can see, those are separate races, but they have enough power where they're considered threats. Black people are such a non-issue that we're just there.
Right.
Everybody else is like, oh, China's about to do this. Oh, Russia's about to do this. Oh, what do we do? Africa. Oh, we're gonna just do our thing. You know what I mean? So
it's just like how America,
no respect.
Joe Biden and the Democrats, they got this thing. They want to push that LTG initiative on Africa, and the African presidents are saying we don't want that.
Kenya folded.
Here's
the thing. Why I see like people like the Young Turks talking about what's happening in Uganda? Why the fuck do they give a fuck about what y'all gotta talk about in fucking California about fucking Uganda? These white people be coming up here trying to talk about, Uganda need to do this. Nigga, have you been to Uganda? Fuck you talking about, ho? The fuck? That's why I've been thinking, like...
The reason Kenya folded is because they have, 40 years of connection with the West.
They ain't fully folded.
They're going to fold, though.
They folded on the LTG?
They ain't fully folded.
They're going to. Because Kenya was propped up, just like Prigozhin was propped up, to help suppress what's going on in Somalia.
Right.
So... what they'll do is they'll have a conflict region and then they find an ally somewhere near there. So they gave them Kenya is amazing. There's Kenyan Airways that you can fly directly to Kenya.
Yeah.
Their education is A1.
they're very educated.
They speak English. When they come over to America, they assimilate well into American society. A lot of Kenyan men marry white women. I want you guys to look out for that because a lot of them do. They live in Sandy Springs, Alpharetta. That's culturally they've been brainwashed for a long time. They're colonized by British, so like that assimilation is very. It's deep. It's a deep colonization.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that you said Kenyan folded because this has been the thing
until they get that wake up card, black wake up card. Did they? Oh, my brother.
But that's their East African stronghold. That is America's bitch in the East.
Yeah.
If you want to know the history.
See,
so basically,
see, you teaching me something.
So basically, Kamala Harris isn't going to South Sudan. She ain't gonna go. She ain't go to Uganda, but she'll go straight up to Kenya.
Easy.
And they'll give her a standing ovation. I'm like, why y'all giving her a standing ovation?
Easy work.
Kenya some bitches.
Bro, they worship America.
Wow.
I wouldn't necessarily.
He probably worship white Jesus too.
They do.
Yeah.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. It still kind of goes back to the overarching issue, right? We know this problem runs deep.
Oh,
yeah, it does.
So I wouldn't attack any group of black people for whatever they're doing for the sake of self-preservation at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like we could point fingers all day long, but we're in this problem together, and we need to feed, and we need to, you know what I mean? So it's
that's why we have to get codified.
Right.
We got to have the mindset to say, okay, what goes on in Africa affects me as America.
It's very important.
What goes on in America as an African, that affects me. We can't have this separation. Well.
Why does it matter? Whatever.
What does it matter?
There's too many of us there. There's too many of us.
It's like, come on, man.
Wars are won by majority. Majority wins majority of the time.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So we have to get out of that mindset, like, and you know something. I'll be honest with you. I don't see this older generation. They're dying out. Like the people of the civil rights era, all of them is dying out. It's going to be up to the younger people to make changes.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Because a lot of young people, they don't have that racist or that mindset of like, well, you know how a lot of those people had. But they're different. You know, they're more to, you know, kind of assimilate. I mean, not assimilate, but be more open to things.
It's more of like a movement thing, right? I think what these big corporations and these like the institutions that have been put in place that would rather further the issue, they don't want to have to deal with black uprising.
Right.
That's another problem. So they would rather black people stay just kind of unaware of their issues. You know what I mean? So they have these influencers that are put in place. And the influencers basically give them nonsense to worry about. They just give them fodder, you know. Just, hey, just be entertained.
Now, you know something? I'm going to show you something.
Just like Trump's
that little incident that happened in Alabama, it was a small incident. It wasn't no major this and that. But in white people's mind, they always, you got to understand, when they do plans, they think 10, 20 years down the road. It's not just something they come up with and this and that. They think far ahead of things. And when they looked at that situation, they're saying, well, if these many blacks can do this, maybe, you know, it might be some more that might just that. So we have to kind of clap down on that stuff. And you're going to see as time goes on, they're going to start doing things like trying to make laws. Because the guy that hit the person with the chair, they tried to put a felony charge on him. Whoa. But it didn't, you know, it's not really going to stand. But he's going to have to go to, they want to do
they shouldn't charge any. How the sheriff going to be black and he going to be charging black people?
Right.
We're saying.
How the sheriff going to be black and he charging all the black? It's self-defense. As soon as you swing on the dude, and they swinging back, that's self-defense.
You have a right to protect yourself.
Right. But he's more so worried about
tread on
preserving his life and his position.
Right.
So he's going to want to make sure that he's, you know, pleasing his, you know, his master, whoever that may be in the moment.
Yeah. He about keeping that little coon job he got.
Right. I mean, but then, like I said, I don't want to put him down for his situation because he's in that situation because of that. You know what I mean?
Coon.
Nah, he needs to stand 10 toes down. Yes, I ain't charging none of the black people.
He doesn't want to bear that weight.
Why you gonna blame the sheriff? It's the judge, bro.
What do you mean it's a judge? The judge don't sentence somebody. The sheriff and the fucking court and the police sentence people.
Like like when they write down the incident report or what?
The judge does not make decisions on sentencing. The judge makes decisions on when he goes to his court. The judge don't say, hey, charge this person with this. The judge sentences people. The judge in their courthouse, they decide when trials happen. The judge has no power outside their courtroom. The judge has no power to decide if you're going to lock up the dude who hit the lady over with the chair.
I think blaming a sheriff is as simple as blaming a corner boy for a drug empire.
Yeah, bro. Like.
Yeah.
So
you got first off you got to let the first off you got
he's this.
First off you got to let the corner boy eat. Because some of them, that's their own way income. So you got to let the corner boy do what he do.
That's what we saying about the sheriff.
Exactly. So
nah, you got to let the sheriff do what he do. The sheriff just needs to stand 10 toes down.
It's going to be hard for him.
And say what?
That's his livelihood.
And say...
Yeah, he thinking about his money.
You know what I mean?
Say
Like,
what,
let's not remove the
That's
fact
what-
that
that's-
people
I'm
need to take
sorry,
care of
told you.
themselves. Like, there's a
says
bigger
so.
problem. We need to worry about more of the macro political issues than these micro situations. Because, like, yeah, you can send 10 toes out all day long, but then you're not going to have a job.
And then they're gonna pick the cooniest coon to replace you.
There you go. And on top of that, the way
they're gonna pick the gay
what you
dude.
did is
Well, here's the thing.
like a hero.
They're gonna put a veil.
Here's the thing.
That's why Malcolm X said,
But here's the thing.
for self.
Here's the thing.
And if you don't have your people behind you, this and that, and you choose to follow that white power structure and rely on them folks, this is what can happen to you.
Right. But
that's why I said I have no respect.
Yo,
I have no respect.
all the sheriff gotta do is go to Baltimore. He'll be good.
I have no respect.
All the sheriff gotta do is go to Baltimore. He'll be good. He
It's
can
not
stand
so
10
easy
toes
like
down. Then after he stands 10 toes down, they fire him. He just gotta go to Baltimore. He'll be good.
I think
niggas run everything in Baltimore. He'll be good after
I
that.
think
That's all he gotta do. But he ain't a 10 toes down type nigga.
it's unreasonable to have individuals be a part of a movement that has no structure.
Hasn't formed.
There's no movement. There's no structure in that movement.
Y'all want
There's
martyrs.
no group of people that are going to protect you.
I'm not
There's no power structure that
Ain't a
is-
martyr. It's saying 10
I'm not a
toes
fan
down. He
of
ain't
black.
martyring for
I'm not a fan of black martyrdom. Like OG said originally.
Gandhi was a martyr.
When we began this conversation, he was
Gandhi had a
talking
whole
about.
people-
What are Indians going to say?
Well, OG began this conversation, and he said how we don't
Gandhi
need
didn't
to
like
be
black people.
heroes no more. We all need to think
Right,
as
we
a
have to
solid
think.
form.
We
I
have
looked
to
up
Gandhi hated
Montgomery.
niggas.
I looked up Montgomery's demographics and population. It's a 60% black city.
Yes.
Why isn't the black vote? Why aren't they in control of their city? Why is he still getting lynched in a black town?
He got his ass beat.
Same thing with Memphis, Tennessee.
Because you don't control.
Same thing with
If you don't
Memphis.
control
Why'd you
the
guys
politics,
ask me?
if you're not a part
talking
of,
about the dude with
if
the
you're
chair,
not part
bro.
of the
Stop being an asshole.
what you call it, the city council and all that.
It's 60%.
Bro.
Yes, but there are a lot of black people who are not in charge of that stuff because
And that's a
they-
problem.
They're bought and paid for. They're bought and paid, yo.
That's
They're
where
bought and paid.
I'm not gonna co-sign on anybody doing any black coat stuff if they don't have a power structure to fall back on.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Solomon
that
can keep cool and he can do
Right.
whatever he wants because I get it.
Yeah,
I understand where
right.
he's coming from.
So
Like,
this
You ain't trying to be working at the barbershop
Right,
sweeping
you're
up.
not trying to
This
be
is why-
struggling.
These
hold it
politicians,
You're not
these
trying to hold it down.
He ain't trying to bridge the gap, bro. He trying to get that check.
Yeah, that's how.
They're gonna put their foot directly.
Yo,
on
Charlamagne
Oh,
the guy.
hey,
Charlamagne the guys.
Matter of fact, he's going to jail because he has rape
Can I
allegations.
say something?
Here's the
They
thing.
got
real
dirt
quick.
on all
Here's
of
the
these
thing.
people, bro.
Here's the thing. Here's the
They
thing.
got dirt on Obama's butthole.
Yeah, he was fucking white dudes.
They got dirt on all of these people, bro. Hey, I'm just keeping it real. I ain't never seen a black man in a high place that they don't got no control over. Let's just be honest. They got something on them. The moment that you get that Negro wake up call, you start having a seizure in your sleep. Hey, the moment you start having dreams of Harriet Tubman, they gonna kill your ass.
Yeah.
You gonna
You be like Ray Charles. We wake up from. You been Ray Charles? You be waking up. Yo, shout out to Memphis, shout out to Montgomery, shout out to Birmingham. The reason why they don't got power is because these bullshit politicians, these black politicians, all they give a fuck about is what the Democrat Party tells them to give a fuck about. You remember those those two black dudes in Nashville?
Yeah.
the gay one.
Yeah.
The one dude,
the one guy out
Filipino.
there, he got free. He preaching a sermon. What man? What
He was preaching a fake ass sermon. The first thing he's saying, he said, "I believe in a world where African Americans, but also not just African Americans, also the was saying Mexican community, like, bro, nigga, we talking about some black, you in Memphis, nigga. What's they gotta do is about some migrants. He's like, bring the migrants in. That's what he was doing, bro. Like, bro, he was doing black
he did
face.
a great sermon. He ain't heard no more about him.
We ain't heard from him since because he bought and paid for.
He works at Kroger's.
They all gonna be bought and paid for. That's the reason why black.
Okay, but
that's why these black cities aren't striving.
Focus on the actors.
Okay, did you hear about
Focus on cutting the checks.
Was it in Mississippi?
If niggas could cut checks, we wouldn't have these issues.
There you go.
But we can't cut no damn
There's no
checks.
checks in our name.
So LGBT.
Tyler Perry, Tyler Perry, shout out Tyler Perry, shout out Tyler Perry, Tyler Perry, nigga, Tyler Perry.
We good at talking shit on the internet. We real good at that.
Okay, but
Hey, I can talk shit. I can talk 90 minutes worth of shit, but I can't give you shit, nigga. You still gotta get a GoFundMe after this.
Tyler Perry.
Hey, Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry,
we need to have a coalition on how we gonna get that check.
Strategy. We need
Strategy.
That's what
we gotta
we
get
saying.
a strategy. We gotta come up with a plan so we can empower ourselves.
Niggas can talk shit online all day.
This is what I personally think, right? Even bridging the gap as a podcast. I think obviously this episode is probably almost over. But just coming up with plans that involve actual individuals in society, players that are doing stuff.
Yeah.
And then
All right,
just
so we
connect
gotta
with
get. So we need to get some.
We need to get
excuse
some
me,
real
black
players out here.
bankers.
Yeah.
Some black business owners. On that has a solid plan,
Right.
which can come on and speak
And talk about it
on these things. Okay.
because they're
I
doing
agree with
it.
that.
They're actually doing it.
I
So
agree with them.
you know what I
Listen to
mean?
that.
I feel like if anything, because right now, like we've said, we complain about this all day long.
All
but
day.
at the end of the day, we're not cutting checks. So we need to have plans on how we're going to start cutting checks.
Right.
Okay.
That's where it starts.
That's it.
We're not going to go anywhere without that happening.
Right.
You know, and we're young. We're young enough.
Flat
we got
out.
an OG here, mastermind. You know, we got
Seen
the
a lot.
African perspective, FBA perspective. We could really make some stuff happen.
Well, then we need to come together.
Right here in our
I think
backyard.
we need to. I mean, I'm sure there's people that you might know, I might know.
Right.
To say, listen, you know,
They will come.
you good
and
in
talk.
business.
They will.
We need to come on the podcast and
Right.
give some ideas.
I have
on
a
some
few
things
people at the top of my head. too,
Okay,
that
well,
can come.
well,
So it's like
invite
we can-
them on.
Yeah,
and,
once
and
we-
let them.
I'm honestly serious about this because I feel like we've spent probably like an hour talking about the reason why we can't make anything happen.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
We have no power. We have no financial power.
Because you know, works without
Faith without
works
works.
is dead.
It's completely
so
dead.
you have to
You
got to
know.
put things in action. So like I agree 100%. We need to come up with a plan, and coming up with a plan is getting a different perspective from
Right.
other people.
Entrepreneurs,
Right.
people that are breaking away from the mold.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Talk about this
You
Rico
ain't-
real quick or no?
You
We
ain't
could,
gonna
we could
say
save
no,
that for
Robert?
another segment.
Right.
Yeah, different day probably at this point.
Okay.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We would love if you guys would like, share, and subscribe to the content,
Get
man.
the subscription up. Get the
I hope you guys were able to learn something and take away.
Yeah.
There's a lot of knowledge dropped. There was a lot of
Yeah.
different perspective given
Right.
here on the today's show. If
We got
something,
some shirts dropping.
no, we
We
don't.
got some shirts dropping for Larry Elder called Respect Your Elders 2024. It's going to be on the website coming up. Oh, I'm giving one to his dad because I know he wants one the most.
All right, well, send that link over so they can
Yeah,
they
because
know
your
where
dad
to
wants
go.
it the most. After why he watches Rachel Maddow, he wants that the most. Okay, let's keep going.
All right, well, thank you, Black Shot, for that. We out, man.
We out.
We love
Peace.
y'all. We appreciate
Love y'all.
y'all.
Appreciate
Peace.
y'all. Power to the people.
Yeah, ATL.
Yeah, I hope about to go to sleep, man. I hope about to knock out.
No.
He give us that energy. He give us that last minute Rollo energy.
My voice, I'm losing my voice. A lot
Use
of,
your voice again, man.
lot of screaming.
I haven't before, man.